Luke Shaw is fit and available for the Manchester derby, but today I'm asking the question on this live stream, does Luke Shaw actually fit into Ruben Amorim's system? We've never seen him play. Is he really a big part? And is this the last couple of months we will ever see of Luke Shaw going forward? You can answer that question in the live chat if you are catching up later on. Maybe you've had a lie-in on a Saturday morning and you're watching later on. Please do get into the comments below. That's the first question I'm asking today. Luke Shaw, does he actually get a place in this team when everybody's fit? Why are we building him up too much? We'll have all of your updates on Manchester United transfers. An interesting twist on the Liam Delap situation and the story that's going around that you might want to listen to as well. Manchester United competing for another striker with a fellow Premier League club at the bottom of the table with us. Yes, sadly, I have to say that. We're competing in a different market right now. Interesting take on that one as well. And United linked with a host of young talent, which I will keep you up to date with on what is happening from sources from their native countries and how Manchester United are getting on with competition again within the Premier League, because it does seem to be one big push from the Premier League to snap up all of the youngest talent around Europe at the moment. So, big fight on there. United do have one youngster in their ranks already who is about to make his debut today. At 14, JJ Gabriel is about to play for the under-18s at 14. Yes, that today apparently as well. So something to get excited about as well. Under-18s football today for United and what we might have coming up in our ranks over the next few years. Potential. That is everything right now. But the problem with United is we need now. Share prices are dropping. United are falling off. Players don't want to come to a club that's not in Europe. Stories about that circulating as well, leading into all of them topics that I've just mentioned there. Let's get started. First of all, please get your comments in the live section on all of the topics. And well, be honest. Luke Shaw, that's where we're starting. I want to know, do you think he fits into this Manchester United side when everyone's fit? Are we doing other players a misjustice? Just because Luke Shaw has never been available, he's on a certain amount of wages, and he's one of the most experienced players, and on his day, probably one of the best left-backs in the world. Even I will say that. He's never been available, though. How are we doing, like I just said, other players in our squad, a misservice? If Luke Shaw walks straight back into that side and is available for United, and the other players that we've had available near enough all season get dropped, is that right? And does he actually fit into a Ruben Amorim system? Does Ruben Amorim actually rate him? These are questions that we just don't know about. I think, from my point of view and my own opinion on Luke Shaw, straight out the box, is that he doesn't fit in the wide wing-back role. He doesn't fit as one of the wing-back, energetic, up and down type of players. Let's be honest, Luke Shaw's contributions to goals, which have been, I don't know if we've been overrated on it. I think the fact that Luke Shaw has actually been injured for so long, we haven't really looked into stats that much for Luke Shaw. And obviously, the main topic is, when is he ever going to be on the pitch? But his output in assists is pretty crap. I'm going to be clear. I think we've all looked past this. Look, the conversation would have come up times before, I'm sure, but Luke Shaw has not really contributed that much when it comes to goals and assists for Manchester United. As one of the so-called best left-backs in the world, which he is defensively, but again, this is not a Ruben Amorim type of player. Now, you could actually say that Luke Shaw fits into the back three, which I think is left centre-back, probably his only option that he's got in terms of his injury, and I'm not saying that should be brought into the question here. You're a full professional player, and if you're fully fit, like it's being said, you should be able to play everywhere. And if you're available for United, then you are there to play in the roles that the manager wants you to play. If you're not able to play them roles because of your fitness, then you really should not be part of the matchday squad. That's a basic, bare bones sort of statement, really, isn't it? When you're looking at this level of football, you need to be able to play. If we are nursing players through injuries and trying to fit them in, squeeze them in, they don't belong here, do they? Surely. And obviously Manchester United will have a problem in trying to move Luke Shaw on because of everything that we said regarding his injury side of things. But I just don't see how Luke Shaw fits in right now ahead of everybody else. I would play Lenny Yoro at left centre-back. He is always fit and he is the future of this football club. I would have De Ligt and Maguire ahead of him at centre-back easily all day long. I would have, obviously, Leacher would be there as well in the reckoning in all of this. I would have Aidan Heaven ahead of him right now. Honestly, like, I understand what Luke Shaw brings and the experience factor is there, but I'm not rushing Luke Shaw back into this side. It's an option for United, and he can come on and maybe give us, 15, 20 minutes. It's a pretty lame end to a career at Manchester United if that is what it is. But right now, any bit of time for these experienced players for Ruben Amorim is probably a good thing. I think he did say the same thing about Mason Mount, but we haven't heard anything from Ruben Amorim regarding Luke Shaw being a player that he's desperate to get back into Manchester United like he did in the case of Mason Mount. So, again, it's the question, like, where does he actually fit? Who's he ahead of is the question right now. I put him ahead of one player who is available for United right now, which is Victor Lindelof, because I just don't rate Victor Lindelof, and I never have, and everybody knows that. And Luke Shaw fits in ahead of him in any position in that back line. Mazraoui is ahead of him at right centre-back. So he's got a player at right centre-back, which he never really plays anyway, so he's not really an option there. And you've got the two centre-backs in the middle, which could be Leacher, it could be... Well, it's De Ligt or Maguire, they're the two, but when Leach is fit, obviously, he would have been ahead of him anyway. So let's just say reality-wise, right now, with what we've got available, you've got De Ligt and Maguire both ahead of him, completely ahead of him for me. And then you've got Yoro and Aidan Heaven on that left centre-back position that are also ahead of him. I just think it would be a real shame if Aidan Heaven, the way he's played and the way he's come in and he gets back from injury. Same with Lenny Yoro, how he's improving right now. How he dealt with Awanya and obviously Anthony Elanga as well in that game against Nottingham Forest. Lenny Yoro, honestly, he's undroppable right now for Manchester United. I think he's actually coming of age already. It'll be a real shame. And I don't want to see these players being moved out just because Luke Shaw is back and available for United. Good, great. He's back and the injury nightmare is over. Touch wood. I still don't think that it is, and we have to be very careful, but I just don't see Luke Shaw being any part of the future of this football club for Ruben Amorim or anyone that he can rely on, to be honest. And I'm not thrusting him straight back into the most important part of our season in these games against Manchester City, Newcastle and Lyon over the next 2 weeks. It's not right that he's actually being thought of as coming back into these games for me, and I just look at the other players that are available and I've still got all of them ahead of him, and that's my opinion with Luke Shaw. It's great that he could be back and give us an option, maybe off the bench, but then if you're sat there and you're a Harry Maguire or an Aidan Heaven or a Mazraoui or a De Ligt, whoever, because these are a number of defenders that are now going to be available in these coming games, and we know that Aidan Heaven's not a million miles away, and Luke Shaw's getting on ahead of you. Yeah, experience and all of that, but it just seems wrong, doesn't it? And the question is, to everybody, like, does Luke Shaw come back into this team for you in any way at all? I just don't think we need to be hyping him up to a point where he really is just going to come straight back in. Like, he's there, well done, fitness nightmare, hopefully he's over for him, but I'm not rushing him back in. Definitely not rushing Luke Shaw back in. And I don't think it would be right on the other players either. But that's the story going around. Sully who was saying it yesterday. He was saying that Luke Shaw is available. They're probably looking more towards the Lyon game. Honestly, I wouldn't be bringing him in against Lyon. Like, you know the quality that we're up against in that game as well. It's too much. And I'm thinking Luke Shaw comes back in. If Manchester United are comfortable or we're winning a game and you maybe need a bit of experience for 15 minutes possibly, I think that's when Luke Shaw gets onto the pitch. I don't see him starting any game for Manchester United from now until the end of the season. And maybe a Premier League game later down the line. Season's already done. United are competing for the Europa League and we need someone to be fit in the latter stages of that competition, and Luke Shaw steps in the Premier League. I think that's probably where we're taking him. But no, it's a definite no for me in terms of the other players that we've got. If we were really stretched and we didn't have options, then obviously you're looking to try and bring him in. But his days are numbered. His days are well and truly numbered. And I would rather have the younger players coming in and taking their positions in that team. And I think Heaven and Yoro are both ahead of him right now. I don't see how he gets back in. But you can tell me as well. Get into the comment section, everybody. Let me know what you think. Going to go to the live section right now just to see where you're all at with Lukey Boy as well. By the way, quickly, just to start off the live chat, welcome to the Members Club, Fred. Good to have you back in there, buddy, as well. I hope you're doing well. Hope everyone else is good this morning. Big plans for the weekend. It is a match weekend, finally. And it's a big one. Tomorrow, the derby. Is anyone in the chat actually at the game? Let me know. Talk to me. Andrew McCroy says, if Shaw can stay fit, then he is the left-sided centre-back. For me, Tomo in Thailand, be glad when Shaw is no longer a talking point with us. Get rid of him. I think there's a few people on that one as well. He needs to perform. He owes us a good Luke Shaw. Will make us stronger. I just don't think... I think people are thinking that he should just come in and give us what he's owed. But I don't want that to be to the sacrifice of other defenders. And that's what we've got to look at in all of this. I think other players that are going to miss out because Luke Shaw just comes in. Nah, I just don't think that that's right. Andrew says, I think people forget how many poor games Luke Shaw had at left-back. He is certainly nowhere near the great left-backs that we have had in the past. True. Yeah, good point, Andrew. Don't get me wrong, I feel for Shaw and players whose careers have been ended by injury. But at this point, he's just getting paid to be in rehab. They're the realities. They're the hard truths, aren't they, that we have to take into consideration with Luke Shaw. It's thank you, very unlucky, feel sorry for you, but do we? You've been paid an absolute fortune to not do that much. Go away on warm weather training in Dubai. And I know that's just part of the ritual. That's just part of the way that things run. And obviously clubs do whatever they can to send players away to get them back quicker. But he just hasn't offered us anything. And the stats on Luke Shaw, when we heard about that injury setback that he had, that he has only just come back from right now, and you looked at that point, everybody was bringing up the stats on Luke Shaw and how many games he's actually been available for. I think he's missed about 8 seasons worth of injuries in the time that he's been at Manchester United, nearly 11 years. It's absolutely staggering, the stats on Luke Shaw's availability and how he's been at the club for over a decade with this injury record. Just shows you how poorly Manchester United have been run and how no one was willing to make a crucial decision where it was necessary. And that is Luke Shaw in a nutshell. That's the facts. And sadly, for him, he can't really help it. He's just unfortunate. But someone at this football club needed to make a decision on Luke Shaw a very, very long time ago, and they didn't have the balls to do it. And that's what we're up against. Callum says, Luke Shaw is a good player but constantly injured all of the time and he's not consistent. I'd sell him in the summer. You could sell him, but it's selling him that's probably the problem. Again, like I said, who is actually going to take an injured Luke Shaw? There's not many teams out there that are going for his signature. We need results this season. If Shaw helps us in the Europa League, then we must play him. The future of our club depends on this tournament. Taking us into the next section actually there, Gareth. Thank you for that comment, buddy. That's Luke Shaw, and keep your comments coming in on Luke Shaw, please. But another story doing the rounds, and this is an interesting one regarding Liam Delap that we've seen this morning. It's come through the Gimme Sports website, talking about Liam Delap's wanting to leave Ipswich Town, but also at the same time making it clear he wants European football. Liam Delap looking to play European football next season, and with United far away from any places that could get them in Europe, they will struggle to get his signature. The only way for them to win the Europa League is to win the Europa League. So Manchester United apparently now being forced into a corner where we need to be successful in Europe. We need to have some form of European football next season. So that comes with winning our last 8 games in a row and maybe scraping into the Conference League, or winning the Europa League and getting the Champions League. Liam Delap will go elsewhere otherwise. And there are other teams interested in Liam Delap, namely Chelsea, who are going to be in Europe next season. And this, again, is a massive problem for Manchester United in terms of their targets and what's going on this transfer window. How important is European football? If you've got a player, and I don't know if this story's real, I don't know why they would put it otherwise, but you've got to think, like, obviously, at 22, you're playing in the Premier League. If you're going to make the move up, obviously he's going to be in the Championship. If you're going to make that move up, then you may be wanting certain demands. You may be wanting certain stipulations put in, like this team that's buying me has to pay my current club the right amount of money, and they have to be in Europe. Otherwise, I will go elsewhere. I mean, how many people are? I mean, the problem you've got with this is right now, Liam Delap could probably say this because he knows he's got interest, and his agent can probably push this. European football brings better bonuses. European football brings better wages. And obviously the agents are going to look at everything. Well, they're not going to play in the Championship next season. Liam Delap is not going to be a Championship player next season. We all know that. He's good enough to play in the Premier League. But now he's saying that he wants to be in European football next season. Definitely hampers Manchester United's attempts to sign him this summer. And if this is true, and it just goes to show United's predicament and where we're actually at and how far we're falling, which is very quickly. If we cannot sign the likes of Liam Delap from a relegated Premier League side because he wants European football, then we really are in a little bit of a pickle, aren't we? We are struggling. And that there just brings it all home, really, doesn't it? That's what you're looking at right now as a United fan, looking in and hoping that this transfer window coming up is going to bring you the better players. Give Ruben Amorim the opportunity, like he was talking yesterday in his press conference about getting two big players, one or two big players. Obviously, it needs more than that, but I think he's talking about key first choice targets maybe in certain positions. I know we spoke all week about Liam Delap being a top target for Manchester United. It looks like it's between him and Victor Osimhen at the moment. How can Osimhen not want European football, that then Liam Delap be demanding European football? It doesn't make sense, does it? And obviously you can take these reports with a pinch of salt, but these are the ones that are doing the rounds at the moment. But it just gets you thinking, what if? What if? Are we arrogantly looking at this transfer market thinking that United should easily go in, and Liam Delap, as much as we don't want him, is a player that Manchester United should be getting? Are we looking past the fact that Liam Delap might not actually want Manchester United? Are we looking at this red-tinted glasses and going, Manchester United aren't that appealing to people outside of our little red bubble right now? United are massive and everybody knows this, but in a player's career, if you're looking at a football club that's got no money to invest, with an owner coming out saying we're nearly broke, with stadium plans, yes, for half a decade and more down the line, players are looking at that going, that's great, that's all right, but not for me right now. I'm not going to play in that stadium. What is the lifespan of a player these days in the modern football? 5 or 6 years at a football club? Signing for United doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be playing in the biggest stadium in England, second biggest in Europe if it does go ahead. No, they've got to look at the now and the here and now. And the player's career is very, very short. So all of a sudden, it's the players, and I've said this all along, the agents are the one that are driving football right now and the one that hold all the cards. Just look at the 10 million agent fee that Jonathan David is demanding out of his transfer. And you look at Jonathan David from Lille, surely United can get him. No European football, big wages, big fees, we can't get him. We're talking about Victor Osimhen, who is chasing the money, it would seem, if he's actually even contemplating the Saudi Pro League. But other clubs in a better position than us to get hold of Victor Osimhen. And then you're looking at the fact that we can't get anywhere near the likes of Benjamin Sesko, or we can't get anywhere near the likes of Jean-Philippe Mateta because they're too dear. And look at the clubs that are selling these players. These are clubs that United fans would arrogantly look at in years gone by and say, we're definitely going to be able to get them. United can surely get that player. The player would want to move to United. The times are changing. And this isn't that straightforward, this transfer window for United. And this is just a little reminder that this might not be straightforward. Look, there's still a very good chance that United will manage to convince Liam Delap. I've said this all along, where there will be some form of a clause in a contract that can be negotiated in. If we're not backing you up within a certain amount of time, we can sell you on to another club if they come in for you. We won't stand in the way. There are things that clubs can do, but the lengths that United will probably have to go to because of how far we've fallen cannot be ignored, and I think that's what we all need to remember in this summer. Liam Delap might actually turn out to be a good signing for Manchester United just for the fact that we're actually getting him. And I know a lot of people probably in the live chat and people listening in later on this would say, Adam, stop talking stupid. He's not good enough for Manchester United. No, for us, he's not. But for him, this is a choice that he's got to make. It's not like it's United are in town, I'm going to go United. Them days are long gone. And we do need to remember where we actually are. As a club, we are huge. As a team, we're shocking. Absolutely shocking. And that does lead me into the next story as well, with Manchester United competing with Everton now for Lorenzo Luca. I touched on him the other day. He's the Udinese striker, 24, who could come right into Manchester United's side right now and be the eldest striker at the football club. That's crazy, isn't it? At 24. It shows you where United have actually gone and how poor recruitment has been in terms of the age of our players and the experience factor, which we're lacking so much. But Lorenzo Luca is a player that Manchester United have been scouting and are interested in. But Everton are also in for him as well. None of the other big clubs that I have heard of or looked into regarding this story are in for him. But I wanted to bring that in off the back of the Liam Delap story, because Manchester United are having to look further and further and further down the table when it comes to talent and try and find players that fit the system for Ruben Amorim that are nowhere near first, second or even third choice strikers. Because you look at what you've got and what's available. Your strikers there, I think, first, second and third choice. You'll be looking at, obviously, Osimhen. Then you're looking at maybe a David. Then you're looking at maybe a Liam Delap. There you order there. And then you go past that. And then you are into the realms of the unknown. And again, it's another striker from Italy that's doing all right, that's still under the age of 25, who is unproven at the highest level that United are looking at alongside Everton. And that just tells you exactly where we're at right now. And I think that's just that hard-hitting welcome to reality moment that I think all Manchester United fans need. And I think the club are dealing with behind the scenes right now. Going on, like Ruben says, and working and doing everything they possibly can now to strengthen Manchester United in the summer is a massive job if we've not got European football. And I still think that Manchester United will make signings, even if we're not got European football next season. But these stories are telling us a story which is one of United's struggles. And that, I think, is where everybody is... That's where everybody's at right now. The smaller clubs. And welcome to that realm, I think, for Manchester United is what we're looking at here. Welcome to the world of lower Premier League teams and what they have to do in the transfer market. Let's not forget, the last 2 seasons, United have finished 8th and 13th at best this season, it looks like. We cannot move from that spot. We can maybe scrape a top 10 at best. But this is the worst in the club's history in terms of run in the Premier League. And the money isn't there anymore. So how do you get out of it? You don't. You have to find a different way. And you have to accept where you are and hope that you find the talent that's necessary by recruiting properly. And the people that think and are moaning all of the time about Manchester United going out for these younger players and Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle City, Liverpool, Villa all going for these bigger players. Look what they're doing. They're run better than us. They're not run better than Manchester United as of now. We have got a good structure in place. The difference is they're competing at the highest level because they have had them structures in place for so long and they haven't fallen away like Manchester United have. There is the absolute truths right there in front of every single United fan. You're looking at Liam Delap being a hard signing to make. You're looking at the likes of Lorenzo Luca from Udinese being a realistic target for United, competing alongside the likes of Everton for his signature. That's the real world. And that's what United are in. And yes, I do believe that United could pull strings and still use their power to bring players in. But don't just think that United are going to click fingers and get these players in. Everybody's having a go at what United was in the past. And if we were still in them realms and we were spending money and we had the opportunity to bring players in and we were bringing in these sorts of players, you could probably have an argument. But United have recruited poorly. They've bought what looked like on paper the right type of player, but not looked at what was happening on the pitch or on the training ground at the same time. Now we're doing all of that in one, and we're having to do it from the lowest level possible. And it's hard to say as a United fan, and it really is hard to accept it, but that is what we're dealing with right now. It really is. Keep them likes coming in as well, everybody. We are up over, we're nearly up over the 100 mark, so please do keep them flying in. Make sure that you get your comments in also as well. Let's have a look at some of these right now. What we saying? Yodo says, I think third or fourth options are fine as long as they could play for Amorim next season. This is a real first season for him. United till I die. Says Amorim likes progressive mobile strikers, not target men. Wilcox better get his finger out and stop going for height as strike. Or is that as a striker, I think? Height's got nothing to do with it. Bigger players can still actually run and be mobile. Trust me. I'm in the big player club. Don't be slagging off the Giants now. Yeah, he is 6'7", Luca. He is a bit of a freak when it comes to that. But still, he's still agile, still mobile, and is a player United are looking at. Not just because of the target, man. Look, Ruben will be across everything. And he will know what United are recruiting and scouting. So we don't need to worry about that side of it, I don't think. I think what we've got to look at realistically is, does that player fit in with the characteristics and profile of what Ruben wants? And if he does, brilliant. And we shouldn't be looking at the sizes or anything like that. But I get it. Like, target men, we've had big players in before that haven't worked for United. The Gyökereses of this world are hard to find. And he did have to go down into the depths of the Championship to find the Victor Gyökeres. Maybe we do have to develop that player ourselves. Maybe we're just not going to be able to go out and buy that player. Sadly, that's just the situation we're in. We should be able to, and should, as Manchester United, go into that market and be able to get the right type of player, but we can't because of how poor this club is right now. It is staggering, isn't it? It really is. Let's see what else we've got in here. I've only watched a couple in the last few weeks. God, I'm not sure what you're actually talking about there. Sorry. Peter says, Adam, we need players in for the now to move the club forward till the next season. We are now not able to get the players in that we once wanted. And players for the now. I mean, you guys put some comments in there. Who do you think realistically, with everything that I've just said, is a player for the now for Manchester United? Who do you think is that right type of player? Who is out there? We don't know about all these younger players coming through. We're going to talk about that in a minute, actually. But Manchester United are actually looking at. But we are right now looking at probably, and saying it like third rate probably doesn't sound nice or is really fair on them. But whichever way you look at it, it is third and fourth choice strikers that United are looking at here as well. Look, I think the eggs are firmly in the Osimhen basket. The fact that he has come out and said, or his people have come out and said, and the reports are saying that Victor Osimhen is not bothered about European football, give us half a chance. And I think there is still a lure of Manchester United still for certain players. And I think they're in a certain area as well. Premier League players, probably not as much now. Players overseas, yes. But I don't think Premier League players are really that fussed about playing for United anymore. I really don't. Well, yeah, keep them comments coming in, everybody. Let's just see what else we've got in here. Phil Jones needs to be sold. His wages are too high, and we're not getting value for money for him with being injured all the time. Mount needs to go for that reason as well. We already know that Mount is not going to go. I take it, McFarty, you're talking about Luke Shaw and calling him Phil Jones there. I think he's worse than Phil Jones, actually, in terms of his record anyway. One of the best left-backs in the world is a myth. He's attacking average defender. I did say that, Peter. Best fullbacks in the world on his day. Best definitely when he first came through. But has slowly drifted away completely. But that goes to show, and I think the point I was making with Luke Shaw on that, just to go back on that quickly, is that he has been at the football club that long that the old titles of this player have been completely washed away, and he's still here, which is the staggering bit about it. Henry says, in my opinion, we should avoid Gyökeres. He has not played in the Premier League, Adam. We're not signing him, Henry. He's already said he's not coming, so you don't need to worry about that one. Let's see what else we've got. Ian says, Luke Shaw is back. In my day, a long time ago, there was a player called Luke Shaw that used to play for United, but he's a myth. I think I just mentioned that as well myself in a way. It does seem like absolutely ages ago when we were seeing a consistent Luke Shaw in the United side. I think the last time Luke Shaw was actually consistent was in COVID, wasn't it? Around that time. I think it must have been at least. Osimhen wants the prestige of wearing the red and the big wages. My priority to answer your question. Trincao, build around him, says Mane. Thanks for the super chat, Mane. Trincao, good signing. Always said it. I think Manchester United should be in for players like him. I think he fits what we want. I think he fits the Ruben Amorim system as well. And he's definitely available for United. Can we get him? Yes, we can. Does he want to come? I don't know. And that's the question, I think, which is top topic in this show this morning, really, when you look at it. Right, I need to go through the other information regarding the other players United are looking at. Now, these are all Manchester United targets that are younger players. Juanma Herzog is a centre-back targeted by United. The 20-year-old Spanish defender, Wilcox, is actually scouting at the moment. Again, never heard of him. Herzog is a player that is... he plays at Las Palmas. He's only just broke onto the scene. He's an under-21 Spanish international. 17 games this season, a player that United are looking at. There is a big push for young centre-backs from United right now. Every time I dig deeper into the reports on things that are going on, it seems to be a big centre-back. But I honestly don't think it's the priority, and I don't get it. And it's like Pietro Camuzzo from Fiorentina, another 20-year-old centre-back that United are looking at right now. He's a bit more established than AC Milan are looking for him. It's reportedly more likely that he stays in Italy, and the price is going to be a lot higher, so I can't see United going for him. But a name mentioned that came up yesterday, so two 20-year-old centre-backs right there. And obviously we've got Jimenez from Argentina, the young under-20 Argentinian international that we've spoken about as well already. And again, that's 3 or 4 different young centre-backs that United are looking in. We've mentioned Lorenzo Luca, a target for United. He is the eldest of all of our targets at the moment, at 24 that we're talking about. The eldest in this show this morning anyway. But the big one from yesterday was brought up by Sully Talks, our friend here on the channel, who was talking about and broke the news regarding Umar Kamara, who is a 17-year-old right winger at PSG. Now, you would have seen this story doing the rounds on social media yesterday. A Wilcox and Vivel-driven transfer again. Except it isn't a transfer. It is actually a free, because his contract ends in 2025. Now, I don't know anything about this player. Again, I'm waiting for Manchester United's scouts and recruitment team to do their job and find these players that are going to be good. But again, this is a player that you're not going to see in Man United's first team next season if he is signed. And where I'm all for the recruitment of younger players in the future, there is nothing that looks like it can benefit Ruben Amorim right now in all of the headlines. Now, they will come, I'm sure, and there will be players coming in at Manchester United that Ruben Amorim can use straight away, because you cannot set off next season with the same team. Nearly everybody that we're linked with right now, barring the obvious, and you know what I mean by obvious in terms of players that are better than what we've got, are debatable whether they're actually going to start. And that's all of these younger players that United are looking at right now. I mean, I can't talk about Lorenzo Luca being a definite starter for Manchester United. He would come in and maybe be knocking on the door, but he's not a definite starter ahead of bloody Rasmus Højlund, is he? He's definitely not. And that's the thing what you're looking at here with these players that are being looked at, the younger players. It's great for the future of Manchester United, but maybe we just need a little bit of news about something more significant. And I could just said then, time will bring us that. We will start to see more stories about real targets for United. And I do believe that the involvement in the Europa League is going to be key, because if we do end up getting knocked out, please God no, then this season will just spiral into nothing. And it will be the worst end to a Premier League season in United's history. Not just because of the position that we all know we're probably going to finish, but just the ending, like the whole sort of like excitement factor around it and what we're actually playing for. It will be the dullest, drabbest, pointless end to a season ever. we need to stay in that Europa League. We need to get at least through April and get into that semi-final with Bilbao, just to give this fan base something to cling on to. It does. But if we go out of the Europa League, then I think we're going to start seeing Manchester United's transfer window develop very, very quickly, because we will know the players that we can go for. And financially, that may make the massive difference in it, because we will then start to see the cheaper options further down the pecking order that we just went through then, and who United are actually getting. I think if we're still in the Europa League, there is a chance that other targets that we're looking at, i.e. ones that want to be in Europe, and the money that United will have because of the Champions League, them we're not going to hear about. And I don't want to be hearing about Man United's transfer window and the players that we are going to be signing while we're still in the season. We can do all of our own scouting reports and talk about it on the shows, that's fine. But if anything significant comes out, it's because United are out of Europe, and we don't want that. We need to still be in Europe. And I just fear for what Man United can do in the transfer window. And yeah, be great if we can develop our own players. And I am intrigued to see what will happen if United are not in Europe. And some fans are even happy and said, look, if anything, if we're not in Europe, it just means that we absolutely destroy this squad and we get rid of everybody who isn't capable. And that's a lot of players. And maybe this will force United's hand into doing what is necessary and not keeping hold of the average players. Because we cannot survive with this same squad next season, even if we're out of Europe. We need players in. So all of these players, like Umar Kamara, a talented young French lad, we're not going to see him. He's 17. And we've got young players that we're being linked with literally every single decent academy player out there. And again, Ian Subiabre from River Plate, the young Argentine attacker that everybody's after, that we talked about the other day. Well-established journalist over there, South American journalist, Sebastian Schreier. I think that's how you say his second name. I'm not too sure. He has said that the interest in from Manchester United and Arsenal in particular from the Premier League is 100% concrete. Manchester United are definitely in for Ian Subiabre. And that, I think, is, again, like United getting ahead and being involved, and it's good. We beat Arsenal to the signing of Diego Leon. This is all good in the background and great, but you just fear, don't you, that it's not going to benefit Ruben Amorim because he might not be here, because we're not getting players to come into Manchester United's first team right now. That's the biggest fear out of all of this. All of this is great news behind the scenes. JJ Gabriel, 14, making his debut for the under-18s today. It's fantastic news. It's brilliant for Manchester United's academy that we've got players like this. An interesting story actually on JJ Gabriel. I was talking to Charlie Morley, and we all know where I know Charlie from back in the day. But he said he did a YouTube video with JJ when he was 8, and they were absolutely astounded. YouTube football, I know, but this is what happens. This is where some players are actually scouted from, believe it or not. But yeah, he said he did a video with JJ Gabriel, and he said the things that this kid could do at 8 would absolutely blow your mind. It absolutely astounding. And he's 14 making the under-18s debut, which tells you a lot. We're talking about the likes of Amir Ibrahimov signing his contract at Manchester United, his first professional contract at 16, playing in the under-21s. We've now got a 14-year-old playing in the under-18s today. And that's the story from Stephen Railsford from the MEN. Whether or not he does, I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep our eye on that and obviously stay close to social media in case that is actually happening. But yeah, one of the hottest talents and one of the brightest prospects out there right now. Hopefully United can keep hold of him. He could be making his debut today. All great, all behind the scenes, all for the future. But what about the now? And I know what you all say, this is all fantastic, but really, we need something now. We need something to happen like instantly at Manchester United, and it looks a long way away. Let's get a few more comments in the live chat actually. Please do, if you're catching up later on, make sure that you do drop your comments in the comments section. Please give the video a like. Let's get that over 150 and as close to 200 as we can, everybody. Right, Lorenzo, 30 games, 10 goals and 1 assist this season, Serie A, and 2 goals from 3 games in the Coppa Italia, says Gono. Big lad Lorenzo, yes he is. I think when we approach players, it depends how well we sell the plan. The plan, there's that word again. That takes me back to the Ten Hag days. Trust the plan, stick to the plan, the process, and then go back to the plan. We never thought Euro would choose United over Real Madrid, did we? Depends if they are sold on being part of winning things. Look, it is that. You're dead right about that, Chrissy, because I've said this all along. You have to be able to sell the future of turning Manchester United around, and that's the selling point. Are you going to be part of the success story which brings the fallen giant of Manchester United back to the glory days? That's how Manchester United sell to players and bringing players in. It has to be. There is nothing else there to sell. They can't offer them decent, the wages that other players were. Back in the day, from the Woodward and Arnold eras. And they haven't got European football to offer, and they're not really competing in their own league right now, United. So, yeah, there has to be some form of future sell for these players. Please, Rangers, get out. Bilbao out supporting Rangers against Bilbao. Wow, there's a few typos in that one there, buddy. Brian, in with a super chat. Thank you, Brian. Love that. I still have faith, but worried Amorim is doing a Ten Hag, playing people out of position constantly, just to get certain players in the starting lineup. I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, mate. I don't think it's that bad. But what you've got to look at here is that United, I think under Amorim, we've seen something different than what Ten Hag did. We have got rid of them star players, the so-called star issue players at Manchester United. I think that's what we've got to look at, and I think that it is going to be different in the summer. Again, all eyes on this transfer window when it opens, because everybody's expecting the big thing, and that may be in players leaving. That could even be in players coming in. But everybody's expecting something really, really big from Manchester United in this transfer window, and I'm not sure how it's going to go about. I'm insanely intrigued to see what happens, and that's a weird one, isn't it? It is. But yes, that pretty much is our show, everybody, today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do, before you leave, put a like on the video. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button for Every United TV. We'll keep you up to date with all news coming out of Manchester United. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on JJ Gabriel's debut for the under-18s later on as well. And if anything else does come out, we'll have you covered in the middle of the day. Enjoy the Premier League football being back on a weekend, which is excellent today. I will be back this evening as well, after all the football is done. And if anything else does break throughout the day, I will have you covered. Of course I will. But for now, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Saturday, everybody, for whatever you're doing. And I'll pick up with you all later on today. Have a great day, people. Speak to you in a bit.